Okay, welcome to our session on the youth empowerment. And if you look at the program, we have slightly enhanced the topic, and the title of our session this afternoon is called "The Generation of Change: How Young People Today Shape the World Tomorrow." It is a very interesting topic because we're talking about the future leaders. So today with us we have very distinguished panels who will be able to share, and interact with all of you. But before we get started, I would like to just invite, our young audience and our, participants at the back, if you can move forward so, later it's easier to pass the mic to you and, we can interact better. We can see you better and you can see our panelists better as well. So we were trying to make this this session a bit more interactive because I believe that you learn better when you ask questions, and you learn when you interact with each other. So we're gonna have our panelists to first give their opening statements, and then we'll carry out our discussion. So we encourage participation from everyone. Share your comments, ask your questions, but do introduce yourself, name and where are you from, and we will pass the mic to you. I would like to find out, do we have an assistant here, Nicholas, conference assistant who would later help to pass the mic? All right, wow, Nicholas is so kind to help us to do that. Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. All right, that's it. We have great volunteers around. So, let's get started. Just a reminder, if you're making statements, asking questions, let's make it concise, and precise to save our time. We don't have a lot of time, and we want to maximize these sessions in terms of what you gain and what we can discuss. So today, as I mentioned, this is the session for those who are just coming in, the youth and service session, who will lead the world of tomorrow, who will decide where humanity will go. And we are also talking about this new generation that we call them Gen Y. I always joke with our friends that you know why they're called Gen Y? Because they always ask why is it like that? Why can't it be like that? Why do you need me to do that? So this is a joke. So we are talking about the millennial generation, and the Generation Y is a very unique generation. There's a lot of research. This is a generation that is most, internet and social media savvy. That's known to everyone, and this is a generation that has a, totally different perspective, how they look at the world, how they look at themselves, and our society, and it's been also found that this is the generation that is most civic minded, and I believe the younger generation is a generation of change, and that's why we set this title. This is a generation who wants a better future for humanity. So we want to discuss, and we want to hear from you and our panelists today. How can we help this generation? How can we help you? How can we work together to empower this younger generation to bring the change they want to see in this world? As a word by Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see. And I believe our young generation are ready to do that. So how do we help empower the younger generation to make a difference and to create the world that we all want to see? And the theme of our convention today, you still remember what's our theme? Yeah? All right, I'm glad you know. Unity in diversity. You know, is this something, you know, too difficult to do? Or for our younger generation, is this something that is in their DNA, right? So we want to know how you look at the world. How do you look at unity in diversity? Do you see boundaries in this world? And how can we break down boundaries? All right. So to begin with, I would like to start with a lady sitting next to me. She's Dr. Grace Aquiling. Am I pronouncing it right? Aguiling, all right. Apologize for my pronunciation. Dr. Grace Aguiling is someone, you know, if you are thinking about volunteerism, if you're thinking about how to volunteer, why should I volunteer, she's the right person you want to talk to, because she has spent the past many years of her life engaging in volunteering, not just doing volunteer work. She's involved in teaching volunteers. She's involved in advocating volunteering, and so on. So Dr. Grace has spent 35 years of her professional life in a very unique combination of academic world, you know, being attached to a university, teaching in a university, and a lot of civil society work. And I had a good conversation with her yesterday. I'm just really curious what has motivated her, you know, to be so passionate into volunteering. And apparently I found out her family influence and the environment, how she grew up. She will tell you more later. So, you know, as a volunteer in most of her life, she moved into a formal volunteering management in 1997 as a director of Ugnayan Pahinugut, a volunteer program for the University of Philippines. All right, and some of the projects that they have done is very unique. They have anti-poverty programs with marginalized society in the region of Cordillera and Muslim Mindanao. Yeah, so that's something that really impressed me. And she's a professor of Department of Psychology, right? And she also hates and taught, you know, and published on volunteerism and social responsibility, as well as psychological perspective on social issues. She founded a volunteer organization called the Volunteer Organization Information, Coordination, and Exchange. Very nice acronym called VOICE, where she served as the executive director. So there's a very long list of what she's done and she's currently doing. I'm very, very honored to have Dr. Grace with us, and would like to find out, you know, from Dr. Grace how she think volunteerism is the way to empower our younger generation today. So let's help me to put a hand to welcome Dr. Grace Aguiling.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Tev. I apologize for my voice, but I'm just grateful that it's back this afternoon. And also grateful that we were told to keep to 7 minutes. So I hope that my voice will stay on for about 7 minutes. I am in this panel, looking at the panel with me, I guess because I have had the privilege and the challenge to work with young people for the last so many years. I think I started working with the youth when I was a youth myself, and continued to work with young people as I moved on, no, in life. Looking at, maybe I will just share with you how I came into volunteering. As has been mentioned, I come from, I would say, three major routes. One is that I have been teaching human development, and particularly child and youth development. Okay, and in the readings, usually when you talk about young people, the focus has been really on problems of youth. Okay, and I ask myself, this is so one-sided, it's so lopsided. It cannot be that in one phase of development, it's all negative. And so I challenged myself, and together with a group of colleagues who had the same question and the same belief system, said we must have a more positive and more holistic view of young people. So in that particular arena, we looked at, from the research perspective, what contributions and what assets young people bring with them when they engage in different activities. Okay. The other experience that I have had was to be fortunate enough to head the volunteering program of the University of the Philippines system. It's one of the largest universities, public universities. It is the state university in the Philippines, and has about 11 campuses throughout. And as director of the volunteer service program, I worked with constituents of the university, but primarily young people, both students as well as very young faculty. And I saw that the young people were just looking for opportunities to participate in governance, to participate in working with the people, so that there was a more practical way of making change happen. In the university that I'm with, the students are known mainly to be very active, okay, in rallies. So activism was a good descriptor of students. Okay? But of late, and the volunteers that we had, some of the so-called activists, and not to go to the nuances of the terms, but they were saying that the thing about what drew them to volunteering was that in volunteering, you actually make the change happen. Okay? So it's not just rhetoric. Of course, you plan on what you want to do, but there are very concrete steps that people to take so that they can change the situation that they are interested in changing. So rather than complain about things, because that can happen a lot, no? In addition to protesting, so it's identifying what the concerns are, analyzing what the roots of the problems are, and having done that, the volunteering aspect makes them now carry out work that they know will contribute to making the change happen. So for most of the people who joined the volunteering organization that we had, it was really wanting to do their bit. Okay? So there were different reasons for joining up. Of course, there was the fun side. There were a lot of students who were saying that they liked the adventure, that they wanted to go to places that they probably would not have access to because their parents would not allow them, or because they did not have the means to go to these places, or simply that there was no reason to go to these places. But being involved in a volunteering program, then it became very concrete what the trip meant, okay? What their stay in a particular remote province would mean for them. And while we did not dismiss their initiatives because of the reason, so we were not saying, you must prove that it is purely altruistic and it is purely out of the goodness of your heart. No? We didn't do that. What we wanted was for people to say, I think I can do this. I see the problem there. I see that I've read that, the children can't read. We hear that there's a lot of illness going on, and therefore we can sign up to do our bit in that particular place. So again, we started with the interest of the students, and then we built on that, so that after their maybe initial stint in the volunteering program, then they would come back because they saw how effective their work could be. And more importantly, it was knowing that there was a greater impact when they worked with other people. Because we were saying, of course, there are a lot of people who do good, no, alone, by themselves, but the influence and the impact is far greater when people work together. So we're saying, imagine, like 15,000 students, each one saying, I want to help, I'm going to do this. But if all these 15,000 said, let's take a look at what we can do together, and we do that together, planned out, more organized, and therefore it really shows that things can happen. So that was the volunteering part of it. The third strand that I'm coming from is the organization that I co-founded with heads of other volunteering organizations in the country, and we call this the Voice Network Incorporated. Its Voice stands for Voluntary Organizations Information Coordination and Exchange, and this was started in 2001, which was the International Year of the Volunteer. And by the way, yesterday was International Volunteer Day. And what we wanted to do was to, again, use teamwork, because when we gathered together, we found out that we had needs, and we did not know that the other organizations would be able to feel the needs, and that each one had needs and resources, and all we had to do was to identify the needs and resources and help each other out. And we didn't have to go too far. And I dare say that even in this conference, I was told that there are maybe over 40 Filipinos, and we have not met in the Philippines, and this might be a good time to meet up as well, alongside meeting other people from also the 40 countries that are in this convention. So what the Voice Network wanted to do, in addition to the other things that I mentioned, was also to bring together the young volunteers, because we knew that there were a lot of conferences in the Philippines, but mostly these were for the more adult, the senior volunteer managers. We wanted a forum whereby the young volunteers could come together, and we've been doing this for the last 7 years and have been very happy doing it. Lastly, because the time's up, going back to the studies, I think the World Bank a document in 2007 that says that by 2015 there will have been 3 billion youth. And the UN definition is that's 15 to 24, and that it is really imperative that we support and engage in programs that will push forward youth participation, and meaning that there are 3 areas, as we know. So recognizing young people as our target groups, young people as our collaborators, and young people as the initiators, the leaders. And I have been very fortunate in the last decades of my professional work to have been able to work with young people in these 3 areas. And I'm happy to say that increasingly in the last 2 years, that the emphasis has been more on recognizing how youth engagement and youth leadership really bring to the fore what we mean when we say that we are all human beings with a shared humanity. And in the Philippines, we have a term called kapwa. It's self in relation to others. And through volunteering, we really live what we mean by everyone is our kapwa tao. Everyone is the self extended and related to the other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Grace. I really like the last statement. You know, through volunteering, we realize that everyone is related and self-extended. Wow, that's a very important statement. And I'm really glad Dr. Grace brought out the importance or the impact that we can create as volunteers. I mean, this is something that most of the time we don't realize. If we have 5,000 young people coming together, or even 500, working in a community, you can accomplish so much. Yeah. So we'll continue later. So moving on, we have a very bright and also very tall, lady from Kenya. Her name is Miss Gladwell Kahara. The full name is Gladwell Wambui Kahara. And she is the first Kenyan youth representative to the United Nations. And then she was appointed by the Kenyan government. She studied international relations at the United States International University, concentrating on diplomacy and foreign policy. This year, she represented the government of Kenya at the 68th session of the United Nations General Assembly. How many of you have been at the United Nations General Assembly? Yeah? Great. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, great. So, not many. I mean, she's 20, 25. Yeah, if you don't mind, I mentioned your age, right? She's still very young. Yeah, and she's taller than me, by the way. So I mean, as a young, leader representing, the government of Kenya at the UN General Assembly, this is very, very impressive. And where she read the Kenya's opening statement on the social development. She was also part of the presidential delegation to the 67th UN General Assembly earlier. And, her speech in the third committee of the 67th UN General Assembly was endorsed by a standing ovation, from the audience. And she was congratulated by UN General Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. And therefore, she was voted by the African country to represent the African youth in the General Assembly. So we are very, very excited. I spoke to her yesterday, and I noticed that her father is also with us. I'm sure behind every, brilliant, youth, there is a great parents. Do you agree? Yeah, I'm sure. So, and besides that, she is currently, I just spoke to her, she just graduated from university, and currently she's working with UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, based in Nairobi as a coordinator of Global South-South Development Expo. She's a coordinator of a Peacemakers International, an NGO that focuses on peace and development for youth. And I'm very impressed. She's still a long list of, bio that I would like her to, tell us about more. So without any delay, let's just put our hands to welcome Miss Gladwell.
Distinguished delegates, good afternoon. Please allow me to use a podium. Good afternoon again. I want to echo what I said at the United Nations General Assembly this year. And I said to nations that a country and a government that does not take care of the young people does not have a future, and it does not deserve one. So we need to engage young people, and we need to involve them in decision making. We need to involve them in nation building. Reflecting upon the call to think together, act together, and deliver together, the widespread level of cooperation witnessed this year's Global Peace Convention has given us all a sense of great pride. For this, I would like to congratulate the organizers of this convention and the Malaysian government, who have exhibited exceptional hosting gestures. Embarking on this year's theme, Unity in Diversity, Building Social Cohesion for sustainable peace through universal aspirations, principles, and values. I would like to say that peace is not merely a distant goal we seek, but it is a means by which we arrive at that goal. Echoing the words of Albert Einstein, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Therefore, we need to understand and embrace and appreciate diversity, because our rich diversity is our collective strength. The resulting cultural diversity expands choices and nurtures a variety of skills, human values, and world views, and provides wisdom from the past in information of the past to the future. When one walks alone, he walks faster. But when we walk together, we go farther. This is why we need to unite as one family under God, regardless to our race, to our nationality, our tribe, our religion, our political affiliation, and our gender. We need to set aside all our differences and embrace peace and harmony. The real differences across the world today are not because we are Jews or Arabs, or because we are Muslims or Catholics, or because we are suburbs or Buddhists. The real differences are between those who embrace peace and those who destroy peace. The differences are between those who look at the future and those who cling to the past. The differences is between those who open their arms and those who are determined to clench their fists. I would like to lay my emphasis on the human side of peace, finding ways to speak to and to tap the deep cultural roots of each people, utilizing them to rehumanize each other. Without the grassroots component, all our efforts are sadly destined to fail. Our success has lent powerful proof to the idea that religion, which is so often used to divide and inflame, can also serve as a potential force that helps us to tear down walls of ignorance and fear. There are currently 1.3 billion young people in the world, and this is the great number that the world has ever seen. 89.7% of this population are from developing countries. 75 million of these young people are unemployed, and 200 million of these young people live under $1 a day. In Kenya, over 75% of the population is under 34 years. The success and the enterprise of Kenya lies in its young people. The majority of people who generate wealth and bake the national cake to stimulate economic development are young people. Despite facing poverty, unemployment, social exclusion, insecurity, and among others, youth comprise the strength and the wealth and drivers of innovation. They constitute a generation that will offer the greatest social, political, intellectual, scientific, and technological transformation in modern history. They are recognized and act as agents of positive change globally, whether as drivers of economic advancement or integrators of democratic reform. We need to create a platform in which young people's innovations and evidence-based solutions could be exchanged, shared, replicated, and scaled up for sustainable development. We must know that there cannot be development without peace, and there cannot be peace without dialogue and participation. Therefore, there is an urgent need to put together mechanisms in place to give the youth a broader and a more meaningful stake in shaping policy and decision making. Youth participation is more important for building inclusive green economies. We need to promote the full and making processes, including developing, implementing, monitoring policies and programs and activities. We need to tap into innovation, passion, creativity of youth and engage them as drivers of innovation and assets of development. I would like to echo Mahatma Gandhi's words, and he said that there are 7 deadly social sins in the world: politics without principle, wealth without work, commerce without morality, pleasure without conscience, education without character, science without humanity, and worship without sacrifice. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we must realize that every right implies a responsibility. Every opportunity requires an obligation, and every possession a duty. Individually and collectively, we ought to make a difference and embrace peace and harmony as one human family under God. As I conclude, I would like to conclude with a story. An American president once said, "I want you to get me all the best scientists in this country and bring them to me." And he said to them, "I want you to go out there and do all the research you can in the world and come back and tell me, what does it take to go to the moon?" The scientists went and they did all the research that they could. And they came back and told Mr. President, "Mr. President, all you need to go to the moon, you just need the wheel. And when you have the wheel, you can go to the moon." This is my message to the young people, that it starts from you. Peace starts from yourself. You having that dream, having the will to do it, and you will go far. I would like to encourage all the young people that you have to dream. And when you dream, you have to visualize where you want to go. And when you visualize, you have to actualize it. You have to take steps to make sure that you take and move your dream forward. With that being said, I would like to say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gladwell, for such an inspiring message. Now I understand why she's appointed to United Nations. Yeah. So I really like your message, challenging young people to be able to dream, and I think that this is something that as we grow older, we dream a lot when we are very young, as a kids, and as we grow older, we lose our dream. We started to think that, these dreams are too big to come true, and we bury our dream. So the challenge to young people to start to dream, to dream for a better world, to dream for a better future for humanity. This is what all of us, not just the young people, I think everyone should do. Yeah. So thank you for such a wonderful message again. And moving on, we have another young gentleman, a friend of mine. We have some experience, together in the past in some youth, challenge activities. I'd like to introduce Mr. Arthur Oyange. Is that correct? Or Yange? So Mr. Arthur is a very visionary young leader within the UGen platform in Kenya. UGen is actually a youth initiative, and it's taking place in Kenya and a few other countries. It's very, very successful. Who has a very profound experience and knowledge in practical agenda for youth development and sustainable peace. Mr. Arthur is broadly experienced as a trainer on character and creativity development. This is very important, character and creativity. In life skill coaching and leadership for mentorship. He's widely acknowledged as a motivational speaker and a consultant with key government ministries and state agencies. Above all, Mr. Arthur functioned as an alumna of the FRD, which stands for Facilitating Reconciliation Through Dialogue, sponsored by Institute for Justice and Reconciliation and National Cohesion and Integration Commission. I believe he has prepared a very nice presentation on the UGen, and let's all hear from Mr. Arthur. Yeah, please.
Hello? Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Are young people in the house? Are we here? Now, I want us to collect all the flowers and give each other and say, change has come. Are we together? So, are we ready? So, let's put our hands up. Please, young people. Let's collect all the flowers. All the flowers. Bring them together. Give your neighbor and say, change has come. Change has come. Because of us. Clap for one another. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Te, for the introduction. Basically, I work for the Global Peace Youth Corps, Kenya chapter. Very close with Gladwell, who also is a chairperson for UGen platform. Just to go to the next slide. UGen means United Generation. And this is a program now we are running in Kenya. And as you know, in Kenya we had post-election violence in 2007, 2008. And so there was a lot of peace work towards election in 2013. And so before we had an election, we did a National Youth Summit that brought together 2,500 young people in Nairobi, KICC. The focus at that time was basically to work with young people to ensure that 2013 election is peaceful, is fair, and very much participatory. So after that summit, we came up with a program known as UGen. Of course, UGen started in Malaysia as a concept. But now in Kenya, we took it up and domesticated it so that it can work for us. Are you together? Because having fought in 2007, 2008, it was just logical for Kenyan youth to come together and work as one human family under God. And UGen was the right thing at that time. Now, UGen has two things in Kenya. We have CPI-1 and CPI-2. CPI-1 means Campus Peace Initiative, and CPI-2 means Community Peace Initiative. It means we are trying to mobilize young Kenyans, youth in school, meaning high school and university, and youth out of school. Those are youths at the community, and also young professionals, young people who have achieved and now want to give back to the community. So we are reaching out to 3 levels of young people under the Hyun Jin platform. Now, if you look at, this is just gone, the whole thing. This is the entire structure of Hyun Jin in Kenya. In every region, we have at least 2 leaders, a lady and a gentleman who are working as volunteers for sustainable peace and development. Then we have county change makers, then we have constituency change makers. But more interesting is here. In every constituency, we have about a team of 15 young volunteers. And these 15 young volunteers are known as Community Action Group. And their main responsibility is to help Kenyan youth and the entire Kenyan community to reconcile through dialogue. In 2007, youths were on the front line in causing violence. But now we are saying young people must be on the front line in reconciling their community and making development possible. Is that not a good thing? Is not a good thing? Let's clap for ourselves. Please. Good. Let's move on. The next slide. Now, sometimes when we mobilize the youth to come together to reconcile the society, when we mobilize the youth to work together for development, some people say it cannot work. In Kenya, we are saying we want to see a day when Kenyans can unite together as one human family, regardless of religion or even tribe. When we say this, some skeptical voices say it can't work. But look at Martin Luther King. He had a vision, isn't it? In his speech, he said, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. At that time, maybe someone felt like it cannot work, isn't it? Many years down the line, this has become a reality. Next slide. They say life, They say life is never easy for those who, and do you know why we are young? We are young because we are dreamers. Are you together? And they say, you are as old as you think and count the numbers. But more important, you are as young as you feel. Okay? So let's go on. Look here. This guy, Zig Ziglar, say, if you can dream it, then you can achieve it. But this is very important. Do you know this person? This is Obama when he was very young. Next. This is Obama with his father when he was very young in Kenya. Next. Someday you may grow up to become the president. Next. That is Obama many years in their home in Kenya with his uncle. Imagine he's telling his uncle, one day I want to be the president of the US. Do you think the uncle can believe? Do you think the uncle said, you must be crazy, isn't it? Next, look at Obama with his grandmother. Can you see that? Can you imagine? In Kenya with his grandmother, at that time, did he ever thought he's gonna be the president of the US? If you were him at that time, could you imagine? Everything works against him. I get the point? Everything stood against him. To the contrary. Look at the next slide. Can you see that? Is it the same person? Go back a little. No, go back. Can you see that person? Go in front. Is it the same person? Are they different? Just older. Let's go to the next step. That's why Martin Luther is asking a very important question. What are you doing for others? That's why in Kenya, through the Hyun Jin platform, we are mobilizing the youth so that we can be able to volunteer and cause peace and cause development in Kenya. We can no longer wait for the government. Young people must step forth and take responsibility to make a difference in their community. Because we have the power and we have the numbers. Do you believe so? Next, look at the lady here. And this is the last slide, probably second last. This is Miss India in 1949. Okay? And this is when she is 90 years old. That time she was very beautiful. Same beautiful. But look at what she says when she's 90. She says what? Time takes away everything from us. Be good and do good. Be good and do good to anybody and everybody in the world. Because skin, face, and personality will never stay. But our work and name will always. Can you imagine that? Clap for Mrs. India. Let's go. Let's finish. No. Now, I want you to go out there. Let's be one. Let's change our community. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Mahatma Gandhi said, first they will do what? Second, third, and lastly, let's move on. Now, this is what Obama said when he won the second term, and I like that quote. He says, I have always believed that hope is that stubborn thing inside us that insists, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us so long as we have the courage to keep reaching, to keep working, to keep. In conclusion, this is the team that is working for Eugene, and we just nominated Gladwell to be the chairperson. These are young professionals who are actually supporting youth work in Kenya. So Gladwell works for UNEP, and we have been having a discussion, and this was supported even by Dr. Rai. And we are saying United Nations for United Generation. And we are going to launch Eugene in February in Kenya, if possible at the UN. Are you together? So I conclude by quoting Dr. Hyun Jin Moon. He says that there comes a time when the best and the worst possibilities appear imminent, when greed and terror mock the building of our dreams, when hopes can be dashed by brutal realities. In such a time when the community loses their common bonds through self-interest, it is the noble aspirations of the youth that brings the new possibilities of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. This is such a high energy, passionate young man that I know. I'm very proud of you. And I'm really glad that you show our young people here, you know, the passion that we need to have and the conviction that we need to have in order to achieve our dream. Thank you. So moving on, we have a gentleman from India. Yeah, we're very honored to have Mr. Pramod Sharma. Mr. Pramod, spoke to him, very nice gentleman. He is a coordinator of an NGO working to empower young people. It is called the Youth Sata. Am I pronouncing it right? Youth Sata. Yeah, okay, you can correct me later. And this is an NGO to empower young people internationally for peace, volunteering, and global citizenship through annual International Youth Peace Fest. Very similar to the one that we're going to do tonight, the Global Youth Fest. And they have also peace clubs in school and colleges and regular youth exchange programs. He had also edited 2 books on the theme of Millennium Without Violence and Need for Afro-Asian Dialogue. Mr. Pramod has done a master and later master from the Department of Gandhian and Peace Studies of the Punjab University in India, and is having a soul satisfying experience of 29 years of active volunteer work. He may look really, very soft-spoken, very gentle, but I believe he has so much that he can share with us. So let's put our hand to welcome Mr. Pamon.
Thank you, Brother Te. And I am also thankful to our host, Global Peace Foundation, for inviting us and giving us this wonderful opportunity to meet and see you all. So, my dear brothers and sisters, as Dr. Te mentioned, I am coming from India, and I hope many of you have heard about India and know about India. And we have the honor of taking birth in a land where Mahatma Gandhi was born. So I am coming from the land of Gandhi, and with the same message of peace which everybody here had mentioned. And I am not a great speaker like Brother Arthur, but I will try to share a few thoughts with you on this occasion. Firstly, like in India, we believe in one Mother Earth. And when we call it Mother Earth, so automatically all the people who live on this earth, they became members of one family, whether we believe it or not, but it's there. So it's there not only in our ethos, in our culture, but every religion focuses on one supreme power which runs all affairs of this universe. Once, one of my friend who is a scientist in a university in Sweden, so once he was in our city, Chandigarh, and we were just discussing these things with him, and suddenly a question emerged that why we should involve ourselves in good activities, in voluntary activities, and why we should do good to others. So, some religion says, some religious teacher says, our teacher, our parents say, society say, but is there a scientific explanation also? So, he said that there are around 30 million species on earth, in land, in air, in water, and one of those 30 million species is Homo sapiens. So, whenever a scientist or a drug company tries to launch a new medicine or drug, so first they test that drug on rat. And the scientific name of rat is Rattus rattus. And if you are giving that medicine, if you are preparing that medicine for Homo sapiens, so what's the logic of testing that medicine on rats? Any idea? Any guess? Anybody? That why the medicine which is prepared for Homo sapiens is tested first on rats? What's the similarity between a rat and... rat have two eyes, we also have two eyes. And rat is having a tail, we don't have a tail, so it's okay. We have heart, rat don't have heart. Rat also have heart. Yeah. Any other idea, any other guess? Any similarity between a rat and Homo sapien? Okay, so I will not take much time because I have a little less time. So, and that I will use to show you a small video, and I will conclude in a minute with two things. One, the similarity between a rat and Homo sapien, or you say the scientific name of rat is Rattus rattus. Between Rattus rattus and Homo sapien is that 90% genes you know. So one gene we wear and another gene which is inside. So because I look like a man, so because my genes are such. So 90% genes of Rattus rattus and Homo sapiens are same. And 99% genes of chimpanzee, you know chimpanzee? and Homo sapiens are same. So we are all part of animal kingdom. So, but like those who don't call themselves as Homo sapiens and they call themselves as human beings, so they should be involving themselves in humanitarian activities. It's as simple as that. So, those people who are not doing humanitarian activities and do violence and do all kind of bad things, so you can forgive them with this thought that they are still trying to grow as human beings from Homo sapiens. They are still part of animal kingdom. So, so, so from now onwards, like we should not keep any ill will or bad feelings about them because they are not truly grown up as human beings. So this is the thought. So, and to enforce this thought of one world, that we all are one, despite, like as he mentioned, whichever color or whichever race, whichever religion, whichever nationality we belong to, there can be boundaries of countries, there can be boundaries of religion, but there should not be any barrier of race, religion, nationality. If we have to grow, if we have to grow as one human race, all as one human family, human beings. So with this thought only, on a very small scale, not at this big scale, we organize a peace festival every year in our city, Chandigarh, which is in North India, and one of the most modern and very small city in India. And we have formed peace clubs in different schools also, plus regularly take students from India to different countries and invite people from different countries to India. You all are also invited, so please come. So, and we will be happy to host you for free, no problem. So, and now we have a small video of the last peace festival. In last peace festival, what happened? We asked everybody to bring soil and water from their country. And people from, young people from 30 countries were there, and they all brought with them a handful of soil and this much of water, and then we mixed all the water and sand, and then we created some peace symbols. So I have one with me. Peace symbol which we created out of joining that soil. I will request Ms. Gladwell that when she next goes to UN, she can take this peace symbol with her. Now the small video, once there was a band, a very famous band with the name of Beatles. I think many of you have heard about it, and they created a song also. So just based on that song, we also have a small video of 3 minutes. So maybe can you start again?
Rhythm of youth, the rhythm of youth, the rhythm Days are many, but heart is one. Много цветов, но сердце одно. Едет кровь, жених жалко. Our religion is a humanity. Our language is only love. Agama adalah kemanusiaan. Timno bahasa matra maya. Rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the you. Rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the rhythm of you. Let us change this world and bring prosperity. Let us spread the peace and finish poverty. Doranyana yo uyawa sasulele noa. Yalla churistenem we will change, we can change. Different cultures we will exchange.
متغير فهم داد متغير دادم میتونیم
Namlu so so ngachi soge. Rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the you. Rhythm of you, the rhythm of you, the rhythm of you. Zindagi jo mazo vacho, pyar jo mazo vacho. Making this
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Because of time, thank you, Mr. Ramon, for sharing with us. Very interesting work, engaging young people, breaking down barriers. Okay, let's move on to our last panelist today. We have a very young and dynamic gentleman all the way from Indonesia, and Leonardo Camillus. Wow, seems like you have some fans here. He's a founder and CEO of Koperasi Kasih Indonesia. And if you would translate that into English, what would that be? I think it would be...
That's a love. Kasih is love. Koperasi is cooperative. Indonesia is the name of my country.
The Indonesian Love Corporation. Yeah, that's a very nice one. So Leonardo, he graduated actually as a valedictorian from the Faculty of Economic University of Indonesia, which is the nation's leading economic faculty. He then worked at McKinsey and the company as a consultant for 2.5 years. And then I think a huge turn in his life, he founded the Koperasi Kasih Indonesia, a social business aiming to empower 1 million poor Indonesians by 2030. At the end of October 2013, the KKI is already empowering 2,400 members through solid combination of education, productive loan, and saving facility. Yeah, sounds like microfinance So 99% of KKI members are Muslim. And Leonardo, being a Catholic and a Chinese Indonesian, he actually worked against many prejudices. Yeah. However, his experience at KKI proves that sincere love, which is kasih in Bahasa Indonesia, can transcend religion, race, and other attributes. So let's put our hand together to listen to our young gentleman, Leonardo.
Thank you, Dr. Te. And ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a pleasure to stand here. It actually gives me quite a pressure. This is my first ever, international sharing like this. Thank you. Yeah, but I'm very happy to be here, hear from the other excellent speakers, and I'm very happy to be able to share with you my experience, our experience at KKI. So, yeah, I've been introduced. Basically, I'm 28 years old, Indonesian. So I'll just go brief. Allow me first to set the context. What is Indonesia, right? How many of you have heard or know about Indonesia? Probably like mostly, yeah. Indonesia is a very interesting country. It has 250 million population, the fourth largest in the world, the largest archipelago in the world, and one of the most diverse, with 300 ethnic groups, 1,300 tribes, more than 350 languages, and a lot of religions, but there are 5 that's admitted by the government. One of the strongest economy in Southeast Asia, including in 2008 financial crisis, but there's still a lot of homework, including poverty. We have around 70 million of people living with $2 a day or less. So it's like, if you count it, it's almost like 30% of the population. So still huge. Jakarta, the capital city, is not less interesting. It's the capital city. It has 10 million people in just a city. But it has around 1 to 1.2 million poor people in the same city. So there's a huge economic gap. You see like very luxurious building, malls, and you see like people living in a house, very, very packed. It's like just a building, a room, I don't know, 2 by 3 meters, made by wood, for example, and very close to the sea. So huge economic gap there. So this is the country where I live in. And then, what about Koperasi Kas Indonesia? How did it start? Let me share a bit. So this is my life plan back then. Since I was in university, I planned, and this is for the young people. I see a lot of young people, and everyone here, I believe, has a young spirit, yeah? So we are all young people. So when I was in university, I know that one day I want to help people, but later. First, I want to graduate. I want to work in a world's best management consulting. I want to go to Harvard Business School. I want to become CEO. And 40, 45 years old, I will start helping people. And usually that's the dream of many young people, yeah? I will help later after I have everything. Is that correct? Am I correct? Yes. So, yeah, that was the plan for me. And I was living that plan. Graduated from UE, getting here, and just got promoted by then. But then, when I remember at the last day of the client, which gave me promotion, I saw in TV that there is an earthquake in Padang, one of the area in Indonesia, in 2009. So I decided, you know what, I want to help people, but so long from now, like 40, when I'm 40 years old, why don't I spend a bit of time now? I just get a blessing, right? Get promoted. So I took an unpaid leave, I go there. And this is a very interesting thing. When I was in Padang, I slept on the floor. I ate like very noble food, and there's no fancy stuffs. Basically, I lose my salary. It's unpaid leave. But there's something interesting. First, it's very different from McKinsey. Yeah. When I was working for McKinsey, always 5-star hotel. You got $30 for your dinner, things like that. In there, it's like the total opposite of what I had. But this is the interesting thing. I feel more fulfilled, happy, and it's a feeling that you cannot buy with money, you see? And that shook me a bit. I know I want to help people, but you know what? It feels so good that why don't I do it now? So things happen 1 year later, the route changed a bit. I didn't go here, I directly go to Koperasi Kas Indonesia. And that was in 2011. We set up Koperasi Kas Indonesia, a social business combining education and microfinance. Our goal is simple. This is our vision. We want to empower, not helping, not giving, empowering, and that's a different term. We want to empower millions of poor Indonesians, wherever they are, from Aceh, the leftist island, to Papua, the rightist island, so that they can exit poverty sustainably. There are a lot of NGO, they go in, they help. When they leave, things go back to where they were. It's not our interest. We want to help people by empowering them, even when after we leave, it will stay, sustainable impact. That's our goal. So what do we do? this is a very quick sharing. Oops, I forgot my timer. I think I have half the way. Yeah. So this is our belief, right? We look at the poor, and we took this. Do you know this equation? Success is when readiness meet with opportunity. Have you heard of it? It's the same for the poor. Yeah. They can exit poverty if they have readiness and opportunities. A lot of poor targeting institution, they focus on the opportunities there. Access to finance, to loan, to savings, and I agree, it's very important. But we shall not forget that there is another aspect there, which is the readiness of the poor. And from what we see in the field, there are a lot of poor, especially when you live in the city, who do not progress, not because there's no opportunity, but because they lack the readiness, the mindset, the habit, and the drive, the fire to get out of that poverty trap. So using this, this is our theory of change, right? We got to provide readiness and opportunities. So we use 3 pillars in our program. We give education, we give loan and savings. I can tell you for sure, if you are working with very poor people, giving them money and hoping that they will progress, be prosperous, I think it's too high of an expectation. If you really target the very poor, you got to target their mind. Once I met with a very successful credit union in Indonesia. He told me, Leon, if you want to change human, change the mind, not the pocket or the money or the wallet, the mind. And I think it also applies for things that we have been discussing here, peace. So education, just very brief, and this is where we innovate the most. We are not just normal microfinance. There are a lot of microfinance in Indonesia, and they are giving loans. We do much more than that. We give education, one of which. It's very simple. The poor needs to be invited to have a dream. They have a dream, but to be courageous enough to think that they can achieve their dream. It's very important. And then the second, we had a success story. I will share that with you later. But basically, that success story inspired us to make this frame of dreams. Very simple. It's like the secret book, if you have heard. Visualize the dream. That's what Ms. Gladwell has said, right? Visualize it. So we invited them, very simple. Put their dreams in an A3 paper and put it on their house wall. And then we also developed educational videos. I think one of the first kind in Indonesia, where we, when we want to teach poor people, they cannot pay for it. So how to scale? We look at, 80% of poor, they have TV. 30% have very cheap DVD. Why don't we make a DVD? So we make a DVD on educations in the future. We will make on the importance of sending kids to higher education, things like that. And last but not least, we believe that if you want to change something that has been there, the mindset for 30 years or so, changing people is not easy. Sometimes you gotta do soft forcing, means that you force people to do something in a way that's not hurting them, yeah? So they realize the benefit, and as you go on, they will start doing it because they realize that's the benefit. These are the 4 things that we do. I have to be brief because the time is limited, and we can do it in a Q&A. So this is some of the frame of dreams, if you see. It's very important. A lot of women that's working with us, when they share their frame of dreams, they cry. And that's important. If you're poor and you want to progress, you gotta have a fire within you that's very, very strong, that keeps you driving up and exit poverty. Without that drive, you cannot exit poverty. And mostly wants to send their children to higher educations, to have a house, to go for Hajj and other things. Loan, just very quickly, loan is normal, usual things. It's a business loan for them to start loan. And these are the business, for example, yeah? Mainly food, because we are in the city. But there's also like, that's gone, okay. I got it very quick. Yeah, that's the loan. And this is the savings, basically savings account and piggy bank. I'll be very quick. That's the impact. I want to spend time here. So basically, the first 2 years, we only achieved like 700 people. But the end of this year, we are going to achieve 3,000. Thank God. If not, we are going to close. So this is the determining year for us. 97% being women, and 50% live with $2 a day or less. 50%, around 40% with $2 to $3. So this is Some of the last slide, Dr. Te. Ita Rosita, she is one of the earliest member of KKI. The first loan, she wants the loan. Always like that. The poor people that we are working with, if we offer them education, they say, no time. How about saving? I don't have money. Loan? Yes, I want loan. Okay, so we go with loan, right? So we give her 1 million loan for her to set up the content of the warung, yeah. Back then it wasn't this cool. This is now. So with 1 million, she filled her warung and doubled the income of the family. Before it was only her husband working as a fisherman, earning like $5 a day. The family has 2 children, so $5 a day divided by 4. It's less than $2. Then, while she was paying the loan, we give her training about dream. Dream is not only relevant for all of us here, but especially for the poor people as well. So you need to have a dream, we said. And she said that, I want to have a house, and I want to send my little daughter to to university. Okay, and then what happened is very interesting. When she was, after she paid this debt, she get 1 million loan. She get 2 million loan from us. 2 million is like $200, and bought a very small land without certificate. There are a lot of that like that in the city. And while paying that $200 loan, she saved her money to build house brick by bricks. So whenever she get a small amount of money, she buy bricks, build it. After 1 year, the house is almost done. And she received $500 loan from us. And here it goes. After 19 years, thank you. After 19 years of renting house, this education and loan and savings, all of it, enabled her, support her to have finally a house, even without certificate, though. So that's the story of KKI, and this is very close. 2030, we aim to be the best microfinance in Indonesia with 1 million members that we empower from Aceh to Papua. And let me close with 2 things. First, we have been talking a lot about dreams. Yes, the future of the decision that the young people make affect a lot of futures. What do you mean? A lot of future, right? What do I mean? The future of themselves, the family, the community, the country, and the world. So the youth, the young people must choose wisely. And let me be a bit provocative in this. I always say this to my friends, and I will tell this to my son as well. If you are working for yourself, for example, you're working in a good company, earning good salary, well, that's good. But if you dare enough to dedicate your talent, your energy, your passion to help others, then that's the great thing. And I hope all of us here won't just get inspired, but go out there and do something great, because we only live once, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonardo, for telling us such an inspiring story. I would like to just share a quote from Nelson Mandela, and as you close, saying that, we can be great. We can move from good to great. And this is what Nelson Mandela say about it. He said, there is no passion to be found playing small in setting for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. And this is what he believed, and this is also the life that he led. So thank you so much. Don't you think our panelists today are really amazing? Yeah. We really appreciate, the wisdom, the messages, the stories. We talk about the power of volunteering. We talk about the power of dream, right? And the importance of education, change your mindset, that we all can make a change. We all can make a difference to the world. And what is more important than all of this is I noticed that all of our speakers talk about how we can move beyond boundaries. All of our speakers talk about the dream of a world where boundaries can be tear down, a world of one family under God, and a quote of Martin Luther King saying that, we want our children not to be judged by the color of our skin, but by their character. So this really, conclude the first, message from our panelists. I would like to open this, comments and questions to our audience. Nicholas, can you get the mic? So we would like to hear, some comments. Introduce yourself very briefly, and yeah, let's just go on.
Hi, my name is Diana. I'm Diana Mendez. I'm from New York City. I go to Pace University. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to actually talk to the youth. I think it's so important, and it's so, I feel it's almost so intelligent that you guys have all come together to come and talk to us, because I have, why are they making such a big deal about us? Like, why are we so special? And but through a lot of my own experiences, like, oh, I get it. I know we have a lot of power. We do have a lot of strength. So I like to thank you all for your unique and diverse speeches. I just wanted to say that as a youth myself, I'm kind of facing. I wanted to face my youth. I just wanted to let the youth know that as a youth myself and everyone here, I think I've had a lot of experiences and different experiences, and I'm sure we all have. And I think what it really comes down to is like, what gets you up in the morning? What is the most important thing you hold dear? And looking back in my own experience, like, why do I care about, what is it that made me really, want to help people? And to be honest, and I guess this is very similar to, a lot of the other youth, it kind of started with my family. I wanted a better future for them. They came to the United States very poor, and they didn't have the opportunity for education. However, they gave me the opportunity for education. And so I wanted to buy them a house and a car once I was done making like millions or something. When I was, working, like studying very hard, I realized, wait a minute, there's a lot of students in my situation that are trying to, help their families out. And then I realized, there's always someone that we care about, and then that someone cares about someone else. And then it's just this long line of connections of people who we care about. I mean, I've thought of a million situations where I'm like, oh, if I'm in a disaster zone and I have this giant ship, who would I take? Of course, my family. Oh, wait, but then I have to take my family's because then they'd be heartbroken if I didn't take them, and then they need their friend. So it's like this connection, this huge, like whirlpool of people that we all love and we all want to take care. Right? Isn't that right, though? What? Yeah, thank you. And so I just wanted to say that, listen, it's going to sound cheesy, but listen to your heart, like you love something and someone else loves that something, an object, an idea, and what are you, think about what you may do about it. And, we talk about leadership, and I just wanted to say that there's all different types of leaders. And I think that, we've have such spectacular leaders here. You, Mr. Pramod Sharma, you mentioned that you're not such as a great talker as Mr. Arthur, but you had a phenomenal presentation, and it was great. I'm sure that we all enjoyed it. And so you see, it's like all these different types of leading and demonstration of everyone, and it's just fantastic that we have the human species, Homo sapiens, we have the capability of presenting and loving each other in such diverse ways. And so, again, to my youth, I just wanted to say that my dream is to help people, of course. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, and I hope I find out someday. But I really do, because it really makes me happy. And why does it make me happy? Well, I ask myself that question every day, and why does this make me happy? I think we all can say, like, when you give a gift and you see the person's face, you really like that feeling. And then it's so powerful when it's you touch somebody's life. That's an ultimate gift. And then you feel amazing. You feel spectacular. You feel like you're worthwhile. Like you actually mean something, you know. And we're all so young. We want to mean something. You know what I mean? So it's innate in us, to the youth, to mean something to someone, to a group of people. So I just wanted to say that, you know, like, just know that you do mean something, whether it's to one person, to a billion people. It's you know, again, it's like that connection. You mean someone, they care about someone, and this whole whirlpool of a connection that we all have. That was very long. I'm sorry. But thank you so much, my youth.
Thank you.
Peace.
Wow, she is really inspired. Yeah? Can you feel her excitement? So, Nicholas? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Haji Aisha Duku from Nigeria, former Minister of Education. At first, I didn't want to come to this station because I said I'm not a youth. So I didn't have to, but I met a friend who is a youth, and I said, let's come. And I'm so happy that I'm here. After listening to the panelists, I feel that I need to go back to Nigeria, because in 2011, we didn't have it easy. The youth were used during the post-election violence. I have a couple of my sisters here from different states of Nigeria that we suffered a lot of violence, and a lot of the youth were killed. My house was burnt because I said, we should elect a leader. And they felt that shouldn't be the case. And the youth were used. And sadly, we lost a lot of them. Even though we still have a great number. Nigeria is about 167 million people, and about 100 of them are all youth. 100 million youth in Nigeria. So we need to go back. We have an election coming up in 2015, and I think in 2014, we need to really organize something like the Youth Summit of Kenya, and then also think about ourselves as the Homo sapiens and the Ratiratis, you know? And then, yes, we need to do a lot of work. I'm really inspired by this presentation of the panelists. So I want to thank everybody. And I hope that we will also be able to make a difference, actually. We need to care, we need to love, and we need to throw away hatred. I don't know where, not in the waters, please, because we need to go and drink the water. So let us know how to, you know, banish hatred on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we continue, I would like to, you know, give one more chance to our panelists, because I believe one of the things that I would like our panelists to just say very briefly is, if today, you know, I'm a youth and I want to do something to make a difference to the world. I want to create a better world. I want to realize the dream of one family in God, to break down barriers. Where should I start? How should I start? I would like our panelists to, you know, tell us one thing, you know, that you think our youth, it will be useful for our youth. Yeah, we'll start with Leon.
I think, very briefly, what one can do is to live in the right way. So be honest, be kind, all the human basics, I think. So you be a kind person, you do things honestly, and you be kind to people around you. I think that will be the very good start. And of course, if God gives you more capability, could it be time, money, or skills, then you can help. You can use that to help others. But the very basic, if you just be a nice, honest person, everyone in the world be a nice, honest person, this world will be a better one already. And more if you can give something of you. And everyone, God gives everyone talent, right? Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Leon. That's Mr. Parmon.
So I believe in all of you. And once Karl Marx said that workers of the world unite. With that slogan, half of the world, became communist. Russia, China, all joined. And now I think in this century, time has come when we should say youth of the world unite. And to reunite mankind. So youth of the world unite to reunite mankind, which the slogan he just suggested. So this is the thing, and as Mahatma Gandhi time and again said, be the change. So be the change. So this is what I want. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you so much. My thinking would be, first and foremost, you need to think and act with the benefit of others in your mind. Secondly, just own a dream and believe in yourself and reach out. There are so many young people out there who really want to do good, but they're waiting for a shepherd. Be that shepherd, inspire hope, and young people can make a difference. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Arthur. Where you start as a young person, one, you need to dream. You need to have a dream. And once you dream, you need to visualize that dream. You have a vision, and you need to, when you close your eyes, what do you see? You visualize what that vision is and what that dream is. And the next step is to write it down. You write down your dream, and you write down where you want to see yourself between now and the next few years. And the next step you take is that you speak about it. When you talk, you actually, how do I call it? You actually bring it to come. It comes to pass when you speak it. And when you speak it, you do it. Because faith without action is dead. So you need to do it. I believe in the 3 Ps that have led my life, thanks to my dad. And he's always taught me through my life that I should be guided by the 3 Ps. 1 is prayer, that I have to be prayerful. And that calls all of you that we need to be prayerful to our God. And secondly, we need passion. Passion, we need to reach out to the society. We need to give back to the community. We need to go out there and practice humanity. And then 3 is persistence. You need not to fail. When you try and you fail, you need to get up and keep moving forward. Because we are not failures because we fail, but we are failures because we stop trying. So those are the 3 Ps. And that's my word to you. Thank you.
I guess I would say that what is very important really for youth and for people regardless of age is self-awareness. We have to know who we are, what our resources are, what we bring to the table, and then based on that to share what we have. And that's the action part, because it is very important for us to know also that we have to go beyond ourselves. There's this song in the Philippines, it's sung mostly in the churches, but I will not sing it because even if I don't have a sore throat, I can't sing. But the words of the song say that there is no one person who lives life simply for oneself, because we are each other's responsibility. And the goal of life is to be responsible for each other. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. We can take a few more questions or comments. Yeah, Nicholas?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm also from Nigeria. My name is Dr. Lydia Umar, and I'm excited to be here. I deliberately came to the youth meeting. The youth in Nigeria usually, and on general terms, believe that the adults or the older people don't understand them, and they don't want to understand them. And that is one challenge I want to throw back to the youths now, because I have heard that statement repeated over and over. I'm talking to the youth here. You cannot continue to talk to yourselves alone. I am a youth at heart. I am old by age, but I'm a youth at heart. I'm interested in everything that happens to the youths. And I want to see the youths go beyond where we have gone to. And in my organization, we have a deliberate policy of mentoring young ones. But if the youths will continue to think that if they cluster around only themselves, then out there, people will not understand you. They will not understand your needs. They will not understand what they can do to assist and to help. And so I think there should be some little adjustment there. The youth should begin to see how they can also engage with those they don't consider as youths. Although some of us here have already said it, that you are just a youth, but in spirit, you can be a youth in spirit. Doesn't matter your age. So I'm happy that I'm here, and I have learned a lot from the youth, and that's the way it should be. You learn from us, and we learn from you, so that we can close the intergenerational gap. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. We'll have a last comment.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Sandra Modawo, and I am from Indonesia. Yeah. Right now, I'm as a president of the students in my university. I am from Manado, North Sulawesi, from Manado State University. At the beginning, when I entered my university in the freshman, I never realized that I wanted to be, I could be a president of the students. But I really want to make something happen. In my university, we are conscious of the different ethnics, different language, and different religions. And then sometimes that there's a dispute between ethnics, dispute between the religions, and other cases. So I had a dream that when I was in the freshman and in the second year, that how actually to create the good relationship between us. Sometimes the people from the Christians don't know that our friends from the Muslims in my university and the students. So when I became a president of the students, I created a meeting for all of us. So let's just talk and know each other. And I gave them access to the different organizations of the different religions and the different ethnics. So you may visit each other, and then you can attend the events that will be held by these organizations in terms of the religions, cultures, and other organizations. And because my passion that how to struggle for my friends, to struggle for the truth, and how to create a better situations, I established one community and one organizations. I call it the Front Perjuangan Mahasiswa Sangihe. If you know that the islands that I came from is adjacent directly to the Philippines. I'm originally from Sangihe. So I created the Front Perjuangan Mahasiswa Sangihe is as the organization that try to connect between us and our government, because sometimes that we are lack of attention from our government, such as scholarship and other attention. So that's why we created that organization, to my friends. And I created the Komunitas Mahasiswa Lesabe. This is a community from my village. Around 40 students come from 5 universities in North Sulawesi. I contact them all, and then we created the one community for all of us. How if we come back to our village, then we should do something social. It depends on to create to make activities. Yes, I want to share to you all of you guys that as a youth about my experience. And talking to the dreams, yeah, it is a very interesting when we talk about dreams. Dream what you want to dream, do what you want to do, and be what you want to be. I always share with my friends about the dreams, and it is a very beautiful. I want to be a diplomat. I want to be a president, and everything I wanted to be. But sometimes reality is very cruel. Yeah. I would like I don't want to crash between the dreams and the reality. But here, sometimes we don't know what we want to be before we try. A friend of mine, not a friend of mine actually, my teacher shared with me that he didn't want to be an English teacher. Yeah. He really wanted to work for government and then just like to be diplomat. But because of the chance came to him, then he chose to be a teacher. But at the end of the day, he said that he felt very comfortable to be teacher, to share to the students, and then to be the example for the students, to give the motivation to the students to reach what they want to be. So actually, I would like to share here, it's not only about the dream we have, but it's about the option, about the choice. Yeah. Sometimes that what we want to dream is not really what we want to dream. Yeah. When we want to be diplomat, but when we come to the situation to be teacher, that suits with us. We can share to people. Yeah. So I don't want to crash there between dreams and about what becomes the choice. But I truly believe about the patient. I have a patient to be like this, and we should try. But sometimes the opportunity comes, and of course we should take the choice from all the opportunities comes, yeah, to reach our patient, of course. Thank you so much for all of you.
Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to conclude our session. I think once again, we would like to sincerely thank all of our panelists today who's given us a lot of inspiration, enlightenment, you know. Let's give a big hand to all of our panelists, Dr. Grace, Gladwell, Arthur, Pramod, and Leon. So, you know, we don't have a lot of time, so please grab hold of them, talk to them, stay in touch with them. You know, and I would like to invite Nicholas Lee. He's the Director of Youth Development for Global Peace Foundation to give an announcement.
Just announcement, tonight at 7 p.m. At the Grand Ballroom, we're going to have a youth celebration, a Global Youth Fest. So expected about 1,000 of young people who walking into the hall and to have some fun, you know, together. So I'd like to invite all of you. And remember that bring your pillow, because we're not going to have a chair, no table in the hall, so just bring your pillow. All right, good, see you there. Thank you.